13th of June 2022. 30 tons of cocaine left Colombia in a single day. Not in trucks, not in planes, not hidden inside fruit, cables, or shipping containers. In submarines. 15 submarines. Built in secret, deep inside a jungle, by engineers who had no choice but to be there. And here's the part that should concern you. 33 governments knew something was coming. They had intelligence units mobilized. They had coastal guards on alarm. They had naval patrols covering the Atlantic. None of it mattered. Because when those submarines left Colombia, not a single radar system on the planet knew they were moving. If you're new to the channel, I am Momin. Here we reveal dark, hidden stories, the ones you were never meant to know. Before we dive in, subscribe, follow, hit like, join the family. As we always say, sit back and relax. It's just the first 100 years that are the hardest. Before I tell you about the submarines, I need you to understand the world they were built for. Because without that context, this is just a cool story. And I don't come here to tell you cool stories. Every single year, governments around the world spend close to $2 trillion fighting one industry. Not military conflict and not cybercrime. The illegal substance trade. $2 trillion every year, and they're still losing. Here is how the geography works. For a long time, Afghanistan was responsible for 85% of the world illegal substance supply. Growing those plants there was as normal as growing tomatoes. Then the Taliban took power, shut it down hard, and today Afghanistan exports are zero. Syria was another major player. Bashar al-Assad and his network ran what intelligence services describe as the industrial-scale production system, state-protected, government-organized. After Syria was liberated, that ended too. So today it's South America, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, Mexico, and from there the product moves into two directions. To the United States by land and sea, trucks with hidden compartments, drones, trained animals crossing borders at night, launching packages over border fences, divers, whatever method works that week. To Europe, the Atlantic Ocean and the Atlantic is completely a different problem. You can't drive it. Airport security is almost impossible to beat. A toothpick gets inspected. So the only real route is by water. Private vessels, no commercial lines, no lights, no communication, moving in the dark. The method that most people knew about is the semi-submarines. A low flat vessel made of fiberglass. It rides just below the surface of the water, low enough that radar mostly miss it, small enough to carry 1 or 2 crew, capable of moving maybe 1 or 2 tons of product per trip. These things work. They're cheap to build, designed to be used once and then sunk. And they are genuinely hard to catch. But hard is not impossible. And that is the key point. As long as something can be detected, even occasionally, it can be stopped. Before, The operation I'm just about to tell you, authorities had already discovered 14 of these submarines over the years. 14, each one seized, each one studied, each discovery teaching law enforcement something new about what to look for, and each discovery teaching the other side something new about what not to do the next time. So the question that sat at the very top of this industry for years was this: what if the vessel couldn't be detected at all? In 2021, the most powerful figure in Colombia's cocaine network made a decision. He was done. Now I want you to think carefully about what that actually means. Because people in positions like his don't just resign. There is no quiet exit. There are enemies on every side. There are people below you who want what you have. And there are forces above you or connected to you that don't simply let go. The only way out for someone like him was to make himself so wealthy, so untouchable, so permanently removed that no one could reach him anymore. And to do that, he needed one final transaction, not a shipment, a statement. He said, according to those who knew the plan, that he wanted to burn the industry behind him when he left. And the number he chose for his exit: 15 tons in a single operation. Let me put that into perspective. In this industry, a successful run is usually under 1 ton. Half a ton is considered a very good operation. 1 full ton is exceptional. Those are the numbers that build reputations, that fund entire networks, that people spend careers working towards. This man wanted 15 tons moving in the dark across multiple oceans. And to move 15 tons across the Atlantic without being detected, he needed something the world had never seen before. He needed real submarines. Buying military submarines doesn't exist as an option, not even in the deepest black markets on earth. Those are not things that change hands, no matter how much money is offered. So the only option was to build them himself. He took 12 engineers, mechanics, electricians. Some came willingly, offered money they couldn't refuse. Some did not come willingly. They were moved deep into the Colombian jungle. No phones, no outside communication, no record of where they were or what they were building. And they were giving 6 months. His promise to each of them: $100 million if the operation succeed. Over those 6 months, they built 4 prototype models, testing, adjusting, failing, rebuilding until they had working designs, and then eventually a fleet. 15 submarines, each one built for a specific purpose. The long-range model designed to cross the Atlantic and reach Europe. Extra fuel reserves, travel mostly submerged, surfacing only when necessary. The deep dive model, with internal air supply system for the crew, could disappear completely under the surface. The battery model, running on approximately 200 batteries, completely silent, capable of traveling around 17 kilometers before being collected by support vessel waiting farther out at sea. All three designs shared same core principles: minimal, electronic, no active radar signature, and an outer hull coated in material specifically engineered to absorb radar waves, not reflective. Think about what that means. Every coastal guard in the world, every naval patrol vessel, every military aircraft flying over the ocean, they all rely on radar. Radar sends out a signal. It bounces off a surface and it comes back. That return signal tells you something is there. These submarines were built so the signal went in and didn't come back. To radar, they were invisible. But there is one detail in the story that nobody has ever fully explained. Each submarine was fitted with a Starlink satellite dish. Now, Starlink requires official activation. You cannot connect to the Starlink network without going through the company and receiving direct approval. This is not a loophole. It is a deliberate system built specifically to control who has access. And yet, these submarines were operating with active live Starlink connections in the middle of the ocean, with no official registration, no approval, nothing. How? Was it a technical exploit? Was there someone inside Starlink who made it possible? Was there a financial arrangement that has never been disclosed? No official answer has ever been given. And the people who could answer the question are either dead, disappeared, or not talking. The question is still open today. Before the main operation launched, he sent one submarine ahead, not loaded with cocaine, loaded with bags of sand. The entire purpose was a test to see if the route was safe, to see if the submarine could travel from Colombia towards its destination without being intercepted, to confirm with his own eyes that the radar genuinely could not detect it. The submarine completed the journey. No interception, no detection, nothing. Only then he gave the order to load the real fleet and move. That detail tells you something important about the kind of man this was. 15 tons was not a gamble. He sent sand across the ocean before he sent anything that mattered. That level of patience and precision is exactly what made him the most dangerous figure in that industry. And it makes what happened next all the harder to understand. Tell me what you think happened next in the comments. By 2022, 33 countries had active intelligence operation focused on intercepting what they believed was coming. They knew something large was being planned. They did not know the scale, the method, the timing, or the exact destinations. On the 13th of June 2022, the fleet departed Colombia. Some submarines headed towards Europe, some towards China, some towards the United States, specifically Miami. The operation was deliberate, split across multiple destinations, so that even if one route was intercepted, the others would continue. European intelligence moved. Chinese intelligence moved. Those shipments were caught at sea. Half the total cargo was seized before it arrived anywhere. But the Miami shipment, 15 tons, reached its destination. He arranged a reception unit in Miami, a private enforcement group, people he had worked with before, Their job was straightforward: receive the shipment, secure it, hand it over. They received it, they secured it, they did not hand it over. This was the first bamboo. He sent people to retrieve what was his. Those people were killed. The reception unit had made a simple calculation. Why return 15 tons to a man who was planning to disappear from the industry anyway? A man who, once gone, would have no network to retaliate with. Why give anything back when you could simply keep it? So they kept it. Second, bamboo. The man leading the reception unit had made the exact same calculation about his own people. Why split 15 tons between a group when you could have all of it yourself? He eliminated every single member of his own unit. He disappeared according to some intelligence assessments. He moved the shipment to Cuba. No confirmed identity ever publicly released. The original organizer, the man who planned everything, who built the submarines, who moved against 33 countries worth of surveillance, gone. No confirmed location, no confirmed fate. And the 12 engineers who built the submarines, killed. Every single one of them. They knew exactly how those vessels were constructed. They were never going to be allowed to walk out of the jungle once the operation launched. All 15 submarines were eventually seized by authorities. All of them empty. The physical evidence existed. The people almost entirely untraceable. If this operation had gone the way it was planned, 30 tons of cocaine would have arrived across multiple continents in a single day. The entire annual cocaine supply consumed across Western Europe is estimated around 300 tons. 30 tons arriving at once is 10% of an entire continent yearly consumption. Landing in a single operation, it would have crashed prices, flooded markets, and destabilized supply chain. The entire criminal ecosystem across Europe, the US, and Asia depended on one man, one exit plan, enough to reshape the global trade entirely. Instead, a machine that took years to design, that solved problems no governments had managed to solve, that made radar completely useless, destroyed itself from the inside in less than 48 hours. Not because of the intelligence agencies, not because of the 33 countries watching, not because coastal guards, naval patrols, or the $2 trillion spent every year fighting this industry. Because of greed, and because in that world, trust is not a real thing. It never was. The submarines sit in evidence warehouses now. Great, rusty, functional. Nothing about them looks like the product of $100 million promise. And the knowledge of how they were built, the radar, absorbing hull, the battery system, the Starlink connection, that by every official rule should never have been possible. That knowledge did not disappear when the engineers were killed. Someone passed it on before they died. Someone already knows how to build the next one. Tell me in the comments, what do you think would have happened if all the shipment arrived at each destination? I am Moment. Relax until the next story.